Hello, happy Monday. How are you? What's going on? This is Creative Stitching Diva and Aunt Jean, back by popular demand.
Yes,
Hey, Aunt Jean, how are you?
I am fine. I am fine. I am well. All is well. All is well. All is well.
Awesome. I decided to ask you to do this again because everybody keeps saying, when's your aunt coming back on? When's your aunt coming back on? And I'm like, it was supposed to be a one-time thing. But
Back by,
apparently
back by
everybody,
popular demand, right? Back by popular
yeah.
demand.
So I said, okay, we could do this. We could do this again. But yeah. So how's everything? Are you crocheting? What do you have going
I'm
on?
crocheting. I just found somebody was looking for a book with hats, nothing but hats, and I had a pile. Somebody put a when I told you that girl put the pile of stuff on my bed. There was a book in there, but nothing but hats. And I don't even remember getting this. Is something Judy gave me. But I saw two hats in there, the jester's hats and the ones with the little tails on them. And those, I always wanted to make some of those. And I'm gonna have to look at this pattern and figure them out. But I'm still, and I found a pattern just for a plain knitted scarf, just single stitch, or maybe it's a
Mhm.
single crochet. But I'm not really doing too much because everything is too disorganized and up in the air right now. But I'm still looking at patterns. And somebody told me they had at one time done a lot of crocheting and a lot of knitting and stuff. Oh, my girlfriend over in Montclair, and she has a lot of. And she says she doesn't do anything. All this stuff is up in her attic. I said, well, I'm gonna be over. They keep telling me, come over and spend the night. You can come spend the night, and I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna spend the night up in the attic going through her crochet hooks and needles and stuff. But
That
she ain't
sounds
doing
like fun.
anything. But put about. They need to be put out there because I'm not too far from the light rail, so I'll take crochet books that I'm not gonna look at anymore, like the holiday books, and I'll put up set of knitting needles or a set of crochet hooks and put it in there with 2 or 3 balls of yarn that they can practice on and they have the direction. I put it at the light rail, it'll disappear in 5 minutes. Because once they see the books, the holiday books with the things they can make and the things they can make for children, these are gifts. These are easy gifts, inexpensive gifts.
Right.
Um, no matter what kind of yarn you use, even though if you're doing, no matter how simple the stitch is, if you buy a nice, colorful yarn, it looks like you have really spent a lot of time on it. It looks fantastic. It's one of a kind. It's one of a
Yeah.
kind. It's always one of a kind. And everybody likes something that looks good. You see people um, walking around with their little hats and scarves on their little shopping bags and whatnot. And they say, my aunt made this for me. My cousin made this for me. One woman told me she can't crochet, but her 14-year-old sister crochets. So I told her she should have her sister watch one of your shows, the lessons and things to tell you how to do. And there is a fabric store in Journal Square going out of business, final
Yeah.
business. They always had nice stuff in there.
Yeah.
They had nice stuff. They have yarn, they have the hooks, they have a few hooks, not a whole lot of stuff, but they have little bags of buttons. And I was looking at the buttons, trying to see what I could do with the buttons.
They have buttons.
They have buttons, $5 a bag, and it's
I have
about
to
maybe 50,
go.
60, 100 buttons down in the bag. And you're
I
gonna
have
find
to
some
go.
mats. I found one in one of the bags I got was a like from a Navy pea coat, like my husband, because my husband was in the Navy. I always wanted a pea coat. But I'm gonna see if I can make some kind of a hat with the button on the side of it or something. A little necklace with it. You can crochet and put little beads, and then have the buttons on there, 5 of a kind, 6 of a kind, or whatever. But he has a lot of stuff in there that people might want. And one thing wish I could sew. I wish I had somebody make me a fur coat because his fake fur, is like 5.50 a yard, but you have to buy 5 yards. Whatever you buy from him now, you have to buy 5 yards.
Oh, okay. That makes
He's
sense
got
if you're going out of
he's got a
business.
lot of, yeah, because he's trying to get rid of it. He's trying to get rid of it. And some of the other yarn is like 70% off everything he has in there: knitting needles, crochet hooks, sewing needles, buttons, pins, whatever. A lot of people are in there. I saw people
Um,
buying white satin for gowns, evening gowns, getting ready for weddings, in the spring.
I have to go there. Nettie is my other crochet mentor. So I talk about you both. I always talk about the crochet mentor that taught
Mm-hmm.
me how to crochet, and then I talk about Nettie, who is
Mm-hmm.
our family friend. Who she's like that one that that really got me into graph canning. She's the one who got me
Mm-hmm.
into graph canning. I saw something of hers, and I was just forever hooked. But she just said that she said, "Arjun, you're beautiful." And she said, I didn't know that they were going out of business. I have to spread the word. But wait, Nettie, don't
Mm-hmm.
spread the word yet. Let me go first and let me
Mm-hmm.
pick out what I need because I'm a button fanatic. I love buttons, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they just came out of nowhere. I bought like $60 worth of buttons at Rhinebeck in New
Mm-hmm.
York a couple of weeks ago, and I don't understand why I did that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have no
He's
idea,
got
but I'm a
he's
girl.
got some of them. He has some of them already in bags for $5, but he also has bins full that you can just reach in and pick through or pick up a handful.
I need to just go there with my chair.
No room, no room for the chair, no room for the chair. But he's got Afrocentric yarn. He has not Afrocentric yarn. He has Afrocentric material, and he has like Disney World, the stuff you do for children for blankets and quilts and stuff.
Oh
I
wow.
just they always do these things when I don't have any money, so that keeps me
Well,
out.
we
So I
gotta
just
go
go and get
together.
I just go in there and grab a bag of buttons and come on back out.
Well, if you go there and you get material and stuff, you don't know how to sew. So who would
Oh, I do
sew?
know.
It's
I know how
us.
to sew. I know how
Oh,
to
you
sew.
do?
I made my prom gown by hand when I was in college.
Really? By hand?
Hmm. Hmm.
What
I don't know.
in
I don't like
the world?
machines. I'm too nosy. I want to know what's going on. If I'm on the machine, I can't hear what's going on around me.
I thought you was
Because
about to say something
when I
else.
was in school, I was out in Western Pennsylvania, and Mama didn't send me a gown. She sent me the material and the pattern and the needles and all of that on a Greyhound bus, and I had to go pick it up down in Crescent, Pennsylvania. I said, "This is stupid. This is really stupid." But another girl made her wedding gown up there while we were there. She was a junior, a senior. She was getting ready to graduate. One of my girlfriends, and I think I told you last week. She said if my sister-in-law knew I paid $50 for my wedding gown, she would die. If it worked for her, whatever works, whatever works.
Wow. I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't know. I know Jackie does, your daughter, but
See, Jackie went to school for study, and she went to what was not FIT. She went to I can't think of the name of the place, but the same place her that my mother went when my mother didn't go there, but they would always send to them for information about dressmaking and whatnot. Um, inst- I can't remember. I can't even remember the name of it now. It was so long ago, but it was an institution in New York. And they taught you how to make shoes. They taught you how to do all of that kind of stuff.
I didn't
But
know she had
Jackie should have graduated, but we didn't know. She said she didn't have the money for her tuition, so her final tuition wasn't paid, so they didn't give her a diploma. I said, Jackie, why didn't you tell us?
Why are you telling everybody?
Why didn't you tell us? Jonathan said we always used to play to him because he would. We want money for something. We always told him we never had any money, but both of us were working. Both of us were working. We probably had money, but for whatever we thought we needed it for. You go through things. You go through things like that.
I was looking at a picture. I saw a picture of you and me. I was sitting on your lap, and I actually put that on the thumbnail. The picture that's on my YouTube, I put that on there, and it was just a side view. It was a side view of you with me sitting on your lap. Then I saw another picture, and I'm sitting on your lap. So I'm like, wait a minute, I spent a lot of time with you when I was younger.
Well, I was taking care. I took care of you when your mother was going to Jersey City State,
Yeah.
and then when we moved down to Clerk and Carteret, you used to come down and spend time with us. I don't know what that's about. I don't know when that was or whatever. But Isaac was always. You and Isaac were always in pictures together. You'd be out walking around in the backyard.
Yeah.
There's one of him. He's sound asleep, and you're laying across his lap, and you're asleep. I like that one. I really
I
like
never
that
saw
one.
that one.
And a lot of pictures with you and Alexis. A lot of
Oh,
pictures. I have a lot of pictures of you too. But then you went
oh.
down to Mama's retirement party. Remember we went down for something? You spent the weekend with us in Maryland. You had a little green satin dress with a little lace collar around it.
That's the picture I saw. That's the picture I saw. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay. That
yes.
was at Edgewood. We were down in Maryland then for Mama's retirement dinner. Some I don't know what it was. She got some kind of award down there, because because we were always going down there for something. But that was great. We enjoyed that. I said I'm turning into a family griot because somebody else wanted me to. Mr. Brunson from the museum. That's another thing I want everybody to go. Everybody that crochets and knits and thinks they like to, that thinks they can knit or crochet, they need to get in touch with Mr. Brunson on Saturday and just go up there and look at the things he has. His daughter has a degree, fine arts degree from University of Chicago or the Art Institute of Chicago or something, and she has done I don't know what they call them, graphics that go around the room. She has about 8 or 9 in there, and they are so fantastic. They are so fantastic, and I didn't
Where
know
is
that.
it?
I'm so proud of her. But she works for Lion Brand,
She
so
works for Lion Brand. Where is
yeah.
this?
Lion Brand
No,
or the
I know
museum
what
or the
Lion Brand is
museum
at.
or the land or the. You want to know
The
where the
museum.
museum is?
Yeah.
Up over the green, up on upstairs over the Greenville Library.
Okay, on Kennedy Boulevard.
You go
Okay.
into
Yeah.
you go in the door and go right to the right. Don't go up the steps. After you go in, don't go to the steps. Go to the right, and there's an elevator that will take you. If you push 2, if the light stays on, he's open, and you can go up. And if the light goes off, he's not unlocked. The door is not unlocked. They have some crazy elevator system down at the library. You can
Okay,
only
I
get
haven't
off.
been there in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
do know you use that library to teach other kids how to crochet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of other kids that said that they didn't know your name, they didn't know who you were, but they just said this older lady was there, and if I describe you, everybody knows who Jean is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows
But
exactly
you know
who you
what? I'm this is bad news. This is going to be bad news for the library. At this point, you can go to any library and make 20 copies for free. And I needed 40 copies. So I went to, but it took me 4 libraries on Saturday to get these 40 copies. First one I went to um, was the Miller branch. No, I went to Five Corners because I went after choir rehearsal and somebody gave me a ride up there. And the guy up there was very helpful, and he made the two-sided copies on legal paper that came out. They were like on point. And then I came back down and I went to the Miller branch, and they said we don't have legal size paper, so I had to go someplace else. So I got on the Bergen Avenue bus and I went down to the Greenville branch.
are.
They had two sides. They had legal paper, but their copy wouldn't make 2 sides.
Oh wow.
So I had to go back to um, Jackson Avenue branch. What is that?
Oh,
Fairmont,
Cunningham.
Cunningham. Yeah, and I made my 20 copies down there.
So you was library hopping.
Yeah, but I know which ones are open at the time. And see, I wanted Clement Claremont Avenue to be my last one because that I can walk home from there.
Right, right. Yeah.
And
That's right up the block from me.
but I got there at like 4:45, and one of the girls there said, "If you wait until 5 o'clock, I'll take you home." So I got a ride home.
Aw.
And she wants
Everybody
to learn,
knows you.
and she wants to learn how to crochet too. So I told her, I gave her your information. So I said, not Monday night, but another night. I said, look her up, Crochet Diva Shauna. She wants to crochet.
Why you can't teach her?
I want her to learn online. And
That's
she
all.
told me she'll put me. She said, "You come down here. I'll put you online. I'll help you do it on. You do your own thing." I said, "No, I'm not going to detract from what I do. What I'm teaching is not going to be what you're teaching. No way,
But
no
they
way.
have to learn what you're teaching
Yeah, you
first.
have to learn the. They have to learn the basic things just like you
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah. I had to learn the
Mhm.
basics. And you also taught me how to do it with both hands, left and right. Did you
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you taught me
Mhm.
how to do it left and
Do you
right.
do it? Do you do it over your shoulder now for the right-handed people?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And told
Yes,
the
I do.
left-handed people to just do, and they're satisfied and they're happy.
I haven't done any lately, but what I've done was do private ones. Private, not
Mhm.
public. I
Mhm.
would do private ones. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. And they were satisfied. They got their money's worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's hey, that's whatever works.
Yeah,
Whatever.
everything I do is good.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. You
Everything.
you have to think you do what you have to have faith in yourself and know that you're doing a good job, whether anybody else thinks you're doing a good job or whether you even get paid for a good job all day. Because I never got paid what I was supposed to make. And I went to the bank today to get my little bit of retirement money out before the third, so I could go out and buy myself an ice cream cone or something. And got down there, and the people hadn't put the money in the bank. I said, 11.99, Jay. Don't make me have to come to Newark and find out what's going on, because it's not a whole lot of money anyway. But it's supposed to be on time,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
don't know whether I haven't done anything. I haven't died. There's no reason for them to stop my little bit of check coming in. Maybe they think I have died because they haven't heard from me. But I'll have to go
Well,
over there and let them know I'm still here. I've got a
oh, they're
lot.
gonna know.
Mhm,
They're
they'll
gonna know.
know. But I take the number one. And I get right off because they're right on the other side of Penn Station. Yeah, that's where I
Auntie, how
learned.
do you do all that traveling? I don't even like doing all that traveling.
That's no problem. I take a book. I take my snacks with me. I talk to people on the bus, or because I prefer the bus because the bus is going to put me exactly where I want to be, exactly where I'm going to be.
I don't want
Yeah.
to do that.
Well, see, I worked in. Don't forget, I lived in Newark for a while, and I worked in Newark at St. Michael's. I worked up on 9th Street. I don't even know what the name of that house. Columbus Hospital, a couple other hospitals. So I know my way around. So I'm comfortable. I'm not. Well, I'm comfortable. I don't like Broad Market, but I'm comfortable. I still, I know how to act on Broad Market. Keep out of control, keep out of getting in trouble. I'm not going to get in trouble wherever I am because I know how to move. I know the signs. I know when to move away from things. Yeah, but the people in they just nobody bothers you in Broad Market. Nobody bothers you anywhere if you mind your business. And you can try.
I don't know. I know here, like a lot of people know you, even if they don't know you, they know of you. So it's like it takes a village around here because they know who you are, they know your kid, so
Mhm,
no
mhm,
one messes with you. But um, anywhere else, I don't know. But here, like I can talk with someone and I can say my aunt taught me how to crochet, and if I describe
mhm,
you, I think I was standing on the corner with you one day and we were talking
mhm,
and someone said, "Oh, you know her?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my aunt." And she was like, "Oh, we went to church together, or we went here together. Oh, I saw her in the
mhm,
library." Like
mhm,
everybody met you from somewhere,
mhm,
McDonald's, or they know
mhm,
you from your son, or like everybody knows you from
mhm,
someone or some place
mhm,
here.
mhm.
Yeah,
But
so everybody knows my name.
they say if you have every child you have knows 6 children, and I have 6 children, so that's 36 people that know me right in this neighborhood. And a lot of you, Shauna, you know yourself, people don't move away. Ever
Right.
since I came in Jersey City, the farthest I have been is Gardner Avenue,
Okay.
and that's not very far. I lived on Forest Street. No, I lived on Gardner Avenue. Then I went to Bidwell. Then I went to Forest. Then I went to Clerk and Carteret, and now I'm on Claremont. So, and I've been here since 1959. So that, well, when I was out at Joyce's and them, that doesn't count. That doesn't count because that wasn't my home. That was somebody else's home. But and I see the people here just walk around. We have the young guys that come to Christ the King in the summertime. We don't have so many now, but we used to have guys that would come from all over the country, and they would stay a whole summer. And one guy came back looking for somebody. One of the little kids, he wanted to see him, and we walked around. I didn't know where he was, but we walked around, and eventually we found him. We found out where he was, and he said, "I can't believe this." He said, "Everybody knows everybody." I said, "Because nobody goes anywhere. Nobody goes anywhere." Mhm.
Yeah,
And it's
nobody
still
knows.
even if it's even if you're not safe here. We had one incident when there was a incident when the young guy was killed. He was killed, and nobody told his family. He was killed right under his kitchen window, and nobody bothered to tell his family. The police came and picked him up and took him away. And his sister was upset because nobody called the police. I said, "No, the people. Somebody did call the police." I said, "Because I called 911. They were here in a minute and a half. They
Oh
were here.
wow.
They were here." And they didn't go. They did not notify her. That was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They didn't notify her until he was dying at like 5 o'clock. So she really never got to see him. She never got
Wow.
to see him. But people know, and the guys fussed at me. Well, it's hard, so you always getting it, you always telling everybody. I said, if something happens to you, I'm going to tell your mother too. Don't you want your mother to know what happened to you? I didn't tell them where they, other stuff. That everybody on the corner knew what had happened, but nobody got into anything like that. I just told your sister. I just
Right.
told your sister. And I had a problem with him and his sister and the young man. And when they went to when they were having the service, I went over there to see what their house looked like because I know how we keep our houses. And I went over there and I cleaned up her whole kitchen, cleaned up her living room and everything. Because some of the kids had been sleeping on the floor. I took the mattress over behind the sofas. I swept up the floor, everything, everything. And of
Wow.
course, the family wanted to come back. The family that had come from out of town wanted to come back to that. And she came over and thanked me. Because
Aw.
I sent somebody to the corner and told Andy we needed the jar of coffee and some milk and ice and everything to put the milk in and everything because they didn't even have electricity on. And it was to me, I think about that now, and I said that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do, your neighbor. And I had a big pot of soup on my stove for supper. I took it over and put it on their stove. So when they came
Aw.
back, they would have something to eat while they're waiting for somebody else to go out and get the chicken and go out and order food. But I just felt good about that. I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but that's what I felt good about, and that's what you're supposed. Because they talk about you have to love everybody. I said you're supposed to. No, they said you have to like that person because there's a couple people I don't like, and I told one of them I didn't like them, and they said you have to like that person. I said no, I don't. The Bible says I have to love everybody. It didn't say I have to like them. I want them to have. I want everybody I know. Everybody's walking around. They're supposed to have good luck, and they're not luck. You're supposed to be safe and sound and have a place to sleep and all that. I want you to have a place to sleep, and I want you to be safe, and I want you to have the good things of life. But I want you to have it over there, not next door to me.
See that? So that's the difference. You did wish, even though you don't like them, you do wish that they're safe. And whatever good comes to them, just in a different location. I have to be prayed, so you have to pray for me because I don't even wish that for someone. Like, stay over there, but I don't
Mhm.
even. Yeah, that's something that I have to like work on.
And my criterion for somebody says, "Oh no," my criterion for a party, a person, if I like somebody, it has to be somebody I would invite that I would invite to a house party. That's my criteria. If you come to my house, I want you to come to my house because you are a party person, and you're President. What was his name? The one that played the saxophone,
Bill Clinton.
Clinton. He's the type of person I'd like to have to come to a house party because everybody's gonna have a good time, right? If he's there,
Yeah.
he's gonna have a good time. Everybody else will have a good time. And you know people like that. You know people like that. Those
Yeah.
are the people you want. But you have to invite the other people too. Some of the other people too. Maybe it's catching, and they might learn too. They might learn too to have a good time.
I had wanted to show you something, but I didn't want to show you until we got on here. So, I have a friend that dyes yarn. Her
That
name
did what?
dyes yarn. She dyes yarn.
He dyes yarn.
She dyes yarn. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
she dyes different colors, and it's not acrylic yarn. It's like cotton and tinsel. You ever saw
Guess
tinsel
what?
before? Cotton and tinsel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, 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 really pretty. So she decided to do, Lion Brand has the skin tones.
Mhm.
So she decided to do not acrylic, but cotton and tinsel skin tone.
Mhm.
And she wanted to do it with her friends, like the
Mhm.
skin tone of like myself and other people that are in our little group.
Mhm.
And so she gave us little swatches and she sent it to us, and we had to like put it against our skin to see which one best fit us.
Mhm.
And then she came out with this is yarn that she paid homage to me. This is
Mhm.
my skin tone. So
Mhm.
this is Busy Peaches. yarn, and
Mm-hmm.
it's 100% Pima cotton. And I'm so excited about it. When I showed my son Elijah and he saw it, he was like, "Did you show everybody? Did you show everybody?" So I started showing people because he was so excited, like seeing it. He just couldn't understand, like, it's a yarn with your actual skin tone.
Color. Mm-hmm.
Yes, this right here. I just want her to know that, like, I appreciate it, and I'm gonna use it for something really, 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 really special for my nieces. I'm gonna make
Mm-hmm.
something for them with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's better than Lion Brand.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
it's better than Lion Brand. But then I was thinking, what would what kind of yarn would we dye for you? Not
I would
skin
like.
tone, but what kind of yarn
I
that
like. I like the cotton. I like the cotton. There's others I have. I don't really have a favorite because I don't know that much about the names of yarn, except I just know, okay, this one feels nice, or this is the color I want. It may not be the color, it may not be the type of yarn I want. Because somebody did ask, one person, a young lady asked me to make a blanket for a baby for her. And I said, okay, you go get the yarn and I'll make the blanket. But her mother went and bought the yarn, and it wasn't appropriate for crocheting. And I chastised the mother, and she said, "Well, I'll take it back and I'll get some more." But I said, "She wants it in 2 days. I don't have time to give it back to you." And you go to work, and then you go exchange it, and you still, what difference does it make? You still don't know what you're doing. And what I told her she need to do, you need to mind your business. When I told your daughter she had to go get the yarn, you should have let her go get it, or let her give me the money and let me go get it. But you have to interfere. You interfere in a lot of stuff. But yeah, but I went on and made it anyway, although it wasn't that easy to work. I told her it's not easy to work with. It's not the people who crochet for people. I said, when I'm going to crochet for somebody, or anybody's going to crochet, it has to be yarn that feels good to them and comfortable when it goes through their
yeah,
fingers. It's not just it's not what you want,
right.
but it's what works. What works. But I did the thing for her. But now this is going to go a step further. This is besides what you're doing. I like that yarn. It looks nice. And if it's cotton, I could work with it for summer weight, something summer weight. But right now, I'm wearing a summer weight scarf anyway. I don't want a heavy wool scarf on me now, but I have one that goes around and around, and it's a leopard print. But I would make something in a summer weight because I don't like air conditioning when you go in. And when I see people going in and out of air conditioning with small infant children and they don't have blankets on them and they don't have their heads covered, sometime if they look approachable, I'll tell them, if you don't carry a blanket for that child, you go in and out of air conditioning. That child's going to be screaming at 3 o'clock in the morning. You won't know why, and it'll be an ear infection. And I said, I know, especially people from foreign countries when they're young. I said, I know your mother and your relatives and your aunties aren't here to tell you what to do, but no matter where you go, you have to keep little babies' heads covered, that kind of stuff. There's different things that they need. There's a whole lot of stuff that we need from different people, but we're not getting it. And I want to get involved. What I want to get involved is some of these health programs for young women. And I just saw something in the library tonight. They say a lot of people who are financially challenged, I don't know if I can find it, but they're giving them kits for menstrual kits
Hmm.
for young girls and women. The library is giving them away. It's going to keep stuff on hand for them, and they're giving the kits away on the street corners. All these
Where?
girls have to, huh?
Where?
They don't say where. They don't say where. I don't want to pull
I
on
do
my
know
picture.
you and I was talking the other day. I got nervous at first, but I know we was talking about something on the line of what you was talking about. Oh, we were talking about the deodorant.
Oh, that they have to put. They're gonna think I'm crazy. I know these are young people, and I know they have seen the ad. I know they have seen the ad, and I just look at it and I said, "This is crazy." I look because I'm 82 years old, and I said, "This is crazy." No wonder young people have so many problems now. They were telling you this is sometimes they had the exercise class, and the girls, when they stoop down and they're touching their toes or picking up their weights or whatever they're doing on the floor, and they say somebody else is close to that patient, and they say sometimes you have red cells, you have urine, you might have fecal matter, and you have sperm. And I said, what in the world is somebody doing after going to an exercise class after you had sex with somebody? If you have all of that, even if you don't go out, if you have all of that on you, on your vaginal area, you need to go use some soap and water. Soap and water always works. And then you put on the other. You don't even need the other stuff. You shouldn't need the other stuff unless you're sick. And if you're sick, you need to go see somebody. You need to go see somebody. And there's another ad where the woman keeps getting UTIs, keeps getting UTIs, keeps getting UTIs. If you get it more 3 or 4 times a year, you need to go, and your partner needs to go. Both of you
That's
need to
true.
go.
That's definitely
And
true.
you don't think
Something
about
going
that.
on. Yeah, no one thinks about that. I just never understood the deodorant though. Like when I saw the commercial, I'm like, why would you put deodorant there?
Lazy. That's lazy. That's lazy. My sister-in-law told me that when she was with her husband who was in the military, and she would go for GYN checkups, that the doctors would have to send some of the women, when some of the young women would go in to be examined, they would send them back out with a bar of soap and a cloth to clean themselves with. And that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
No, not
Not
at
in this
all.
society.
Not
I
at
know
all.
it happens. But with that, and especially and little children, I tell people, don't even, if you have a little girl child with you, don't let that child sit on the seat on the bus. Put that child up on your lap, because you got these young men walking around with their belts around their behind now. They're really on their belts are on their thighs, and they're sitting on the bus, and you're gonna put a child to sit there. And they say that when when little infant children, when they have like when they're going to school, like 3, 4, 5 years, or first, second, third, fourth grade, those kind of grades, when they run a temperature, that's the first thing you should look for. That's the first thing you should look for is a UTI, something they pick up on the. Put these kids in little cotton drawers. Don't put them on those little fancy things now, because there are things that come, there are fluids that come out of you, and at night when you put these on these things, let the stuff get soaked up off. You don't want to sleep in that stuff all night. You don't want to sleep in that stuff all night.
Yeah.
And I can't, and that's what bothers me. A friend of mine, her mother died at 100, and she still wasn't using Pampers and diapers. And I see so many young women now. I'm 82, so anybody under 60 is young to me. I can't understand why somebody a young woman between 50 and 60 needs a pamper or a diaper. I can't understand why women do that.
Well, I used to work for a OBGYN, and a lot of them needed, I don't think a diaper, but maybe like a pad or like a liner because um they start leaking.
Why? If somebody can live to be 100 and not leak and doesn't need that, why do young people all
Well,
of a sudden need this? What do they do? What are they? I know what they're not doing. You tell me what they're doing.
well, the reason why some of them may leak is because their bladder is starting to loosen, and sometimes it goes through the vagina.
Do you know what Kegel? Can you know what Kegels are, or Kegels, or Kugels, or whatever?
Yeah,
That's supposed to, those little exercises.
yeah,
You know what it is?
yeah. You
Okay,
know what it
huh?
is? Nothing.
Okay, when I had my children, first of all, they kept you in the house. They kept you in the hospital for 5 days after you delivered.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
that
you
was.
couldn't you couldn't even get out of the bed for the first day. The second day, you could dangle your feet. But when you found out you were pregnant, when I was carrying children, the first thing the doctor told you was to go put on a girdle, support stockings, and a bra. And you used that up until the time you went into the hospital. When the first, and you, after the 5 days, after you've been in a bed for 2 days, you could get up and take a shower. You had to put a girdle on.
They don't really do
And
that anymore.
they gave you a book with exercises to put your bladder back in place and to put everything back in place. It was a I would only do it after everybody was in bed and it was dark, because it was such a unpleasant thing. You would be on your knees and put your chest down, chest position. on the floor. Put your elbows on the floor. And you'd stay like that 5 minutes. The next day, 10 minutes. Next day, 15 minutes. You had to do that 15 minutes a day, twice, 2 or 3 times a day. And that made everything fall back in place. And you wouldn't have your bladder dripping out of you. But they
You
don't
make
tell you that now because they don't tell you that now because they're trying to sell Pampers.
you making a great point. You are.
And you see too many young women walking around looking, falling all of everything hanging down. I don't want to say like, but hanging down in the front.
You make a great point.
When I had my first child, I was 92 pounds. 10 years later, when I had my fifth child, I was still 92 pounds.
So back then, I can actually say it worked very well for all of you guys. They don't do that now at
But,
all
but
whatsoever.
they should, but we should. Just because the doctors don't tell us to do it, when the black people get together, the people who want to do medical things and make sure that we get the things that we need when we're carrying children, we have to do it. We have
But
to
we
do it.
don't know. We wouldn't.
But
Now, the
that not,
only reason why I knew is because my mom would say that, and I had a C-section, so I had no other choice but to wear a girdle or like a waist
they wouldn't
trainer.
tell you to put one on. They wouldn't tell you to put one on right away. You just had to lay in bed like 9, 10 days.
But I didn't, and
I know.
I was gone like in like what 4 days.
But because they don't tell you that, because they're not going to take care of you, we have to take care of our own. We have to take care of our own. And this is what the black women doctors have to tell the black women.
Yeah, yeah.
We know they're not going. We know the white man is not going to do it for us. I hate to say that, but, and somebody said, "How can you? How? Why can you call a person white?" And I said, "They pay people to call me black or Negro or colored or whatever. Why can't I call them white?" And that's the easiest way to identify somebody. That white girl over there,
Hmm. You got a point.
because they'll certainly identify you as black person. See that black girl over there? And when I
Yeah.
worked at, this is when I was at Clara Mass Hospital. Everybody can see the color I am. When I worked at Clara Mass Hospital, I had gone up to the floor and done some work on one of the patients, probably draw some blood from the patient. When I came back downstairs, they said somebody's calling somebody. One of the tech left something upstairs on the floor. And they said, Who was it? I don't know. That dark girl, that one that's real dark. And they said, daggone, if they think Jean's dark, what do they call the rest of us? But
You're
it was
nowhere
me.
near dark.
But that's the way they just, I'm dark to them. I was dark to them.
Nowhere near. I know. I was looking at our pictures. I was looking at the pictures because I was trying to find a perfect picture to put on our the thumbnail, and
Hmm.
I saw a picture of you when you were in like high school, and I kept staring at it because I'm like, I know this is my Aunt Jean, but you look like you were white, and I had to keep staring at it.
But they always like, the photographers who are not used to working with black people usually make you a little bit lighter because they have to. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how professionals do that. But when you're taking a group picture, I'll tell people this: when they're taking a group picture, what Isaac told me was, you put the darker people right down front because they have the most light on them. This is photographers who are using bounce lights and all that kind of stuff. And
Oh, excellent.
my cousin Gloria was telling me that she was in a group of someplace where they were taking a group of picture of a group of nuns, and the two black women, of course, were late people came to get put into the picture. When they got down there, the other 50 people were already in position, and as soon as they walked in the room, the photographer took the two people out of the front, the two white people out of the front, and put Gloria and this other black person down front. And she said nobody said anything and nobody knew why. But since she was a photographer, she knew why.
Hmm.
Because my mother has a picture on her wall, and the people are real. They're from the islands, and they're kind of dark. And I look at that picture, and I said, "Oh my God, Mama's sitting down front with her little shiny self, and all these other people sitting behind her, and you couldn't even see who they were. You couldn't even distinguish their faces. You couldn't distinguish their faces. But anyway, now what?
I do know that Your husband, Uncle Isaac, took a lot of pictures. Was that a hobby for him or his profession?
It was a hobby for him, but he did go down to Jersey City and take a class 1 year. I think he stayed a whole year. I don't know if he stayed a whole year or he stayed for a semester. But at that time, you used cameras that had film in it,
Yeah.
35 millimeter cameras. And what they had to do as students was go out and take 2 rolls of film every weekend and come back, and you had to develop them yourself. And he made his own on larger. We couldn't go, he would be downstairs in the kitchen at night on Clerk Street. We couldn't even go down there and get a glass of water because he couldn't have any light on. He would pull the shades down and turn the lights out.
Oh, yeah,
And he'd
that's
be down there till
right.
5 o'clock in the morning till the sun was coming up. When the sun came up, he had to quit. He had to quit. But he came back one time. The first time he used to go into New York and walk around, and he came back raving about this church he had seen in New York. Man, Gene, you should see that church. Or that's the prettiest church I've ever seen in my life. I said, was it St. Patrick's? I don't know. He said, it was just a nice church, pretty church. Oh, it was so pretty inside and out. And he came, and of course, when the pictures came out, it was St. Patrick's Cathedral. But he has, I don't know where his pictures of St. Patrick Cathedral are, but he took a picture of Rockefeller Center with the atlas and the guy. That when I saw that picture,
Hello? What happened, Aunt Jean? Your hotspot. Check your hotspot. Oh, let me text my cousin. But how you guys doing? You guys are loving Miss Jean, Aunt Jean. Hotspot. Let me put that. The hotspot stopped. She can't do it, so I gotta tell my cousin to do it. But how you guys are doing? Y'all like this conversation? Aunt Jean, do you guys want me to ask her something specific? Because that's something else she did ask. Did they want me to talk about something specific? Did they want me to answer certain questions? He's fixing the hotspot now. Did you like let me know because that's what she thought that she was coming on here to do, like answer questions or whatever. So she's literally like saying, like, what do you want me to talk about? But then I didn't have to write that down or anything because she just finds anything to talk about. Like she just talks about everything. I got kind of nervous though about the Lumi thing. I got kind of nervous, but hey, we're all adults, right? The Lumi commercial was something that she spoke to me about a while ago. I have no idea how we got into the conversation. But I talk to my aunt like a lot. And when we talk, it's like oh, he's putting it together now. But she'll be back in a few seconds. But when we talk for like hours and hours and hours. And she'll even say, all right, girlfriend, like it's funny, but this is how she talks to me. And we can talk on the phone for like hours and hours and hours. And sometimes I'm like, the Kegel got me. We never spoke about that. That got me. That's still getting me. I don't know if I could deal with that one. You okay now?
yeah, I'm back.
Oh,
Jonathan got it back. I don't know what it was. But
what
anyway,
would we
well,
do without Jonathan? What would we do without you?
Jonathan's gone already. Jonathan's supposed to be fixing our chicken wings. The girl that lives downstairs, the lady that lives downstairs under us, Elizabeth, she's going for bariatric surgery on Wednesday. So she gave us all the food out of her freezer because she can't. She said she can't eat anything except chicken broth for 6 weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Ooh, she gonna lose a
So
lot of weight.
we got a box of what is it, Bubba's Burgers? You know what
Oh yeah, yeah. I know what Bubba's is. Yeah.
Bubba's
I
Burgers,
don't
and
eat that no more. We stopped eating beef.
we don't buy that much beef. I eat only most of the beef I eat is in spaghetti sauce.
I have the weirdest kids ever. Actually, I forgot to give it to Jonathan. I had a thing of the same pack of chicken that I gave you before. My kids barely eat the stuff that I try to make now. That's why we just stopped eating beef because I was making it. The little one don't eat spaghetti with meat. which is
Mm-hmm.
weird. I don't understand why he doesn't like spaghetti without meat. And then the oldest, he likes spaghetti with meat, but it can't be beef. It has to
Mm-hmm.
be turkey. So yeah, my kids are very special.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you had six. Did they do that, or you just fed them whatever?
I cooked. I could. Well, see, when I got married, I didn't know how to cook because I had never. I was away from home when I should have been learning how to cook. So I practiced on Isaac, and it didn't dawn on me until after he died that he put up with me learning how to cook. Because one time I did say to him, I guess I have to teach Jackie and him how to, he said, no, 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 no. He said, you learned how to cook on me. They can learn on somebody else. And he never said enough. One or two times he told me that this whatever I was cooking didn't taste like his mother's. And I simply told him, I'm not your mother. And that was the end of that. But
You
somebody
the some of the stuff that you tell me about Uncle Isaac is hilarious because he was such like a really nice guy, like
he
very
was.
very 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 nice guy. And it's weird because you are very like strong minded, so
Hmm.
the two of
Hmm.
you was like opposites attract.
But I told somebody else. I tell everybody this, that before we got married, one time we were in Branchbrook Park,
Mhm.
and it was Ollie Culberth and his wife Ada. They were married, and we were having a picnic in Branchbrook Park. And Isaac and I weren't married, and I was a student at St. Michael's, and I was the only. They had never seen a. There were two people, Mrs. Harmon and myself, that worked in there, and they had never seen two black women like that in their lives. Because I had been to up there in this school with all of these white people, and I wore my short dresses and my ring and my hair and everything. And the people who were in the hospital were my age, were the interns and residents and a few guys working in the labs who had gotten out of going in the Korean War by going into a scientific field. And we would go to coffee together, and we were good friends. We would have a good time together. And when I was in the park with him at this picnic one time, all of these guys in a car load of interns and hey Gene, how you doing? They came riding by, waving at me and calling me and laughing and key talking. And when they left, when they drove on past, Isaac picked me up and turned me upside down on my head. And I couldn't tell him I couldn't breathe because I couldn't breathe. You know. So
Oh,
and he held me up there for a long time. And Ollie and Ada and Ollie just looked at him. They were laughing. They thought it was funny. When I got down, I told him, I used the N word. I said, nigga, if you ever put your hands on me again, I will kill you in your sleep. I know I can't. I know I can't hit you, beat you up while you're awake because I know you're too strong. But I said you gonna have to lay down and close your eyes, and you ain't never gonna get up. And never again did he do anything to me to hurt me, to harm me. Never again. He didn't
yeah.
even raise his voice. He did get upset with me one time. I bought him a towel, a bath towel. The big ones that they have. I think I paid $13 for it because he was a shower person. You spent all that money without talking to me, blah, 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 blah. I really felt bad. I really felt bad, almost in tears. And he came home 2 weeks later. He came home. He worked at Bamberger's warehouse, and every quarter they would have a sale. He came home with a $300 lens for his camera. I said, "Don't you ever say anything to me about money again."
Oh
He only
no.
paid like 70. He only paid like $70 for it. And then one time he got picked up in a numbers raid on the job. When they came in, they were in the restaurant having lunch, and the guys he was happened to be sitting with the guy who was writing and running the numbers. And when they came in, they came straight to his table, so he didn't have time to clean out his pockets. But everybody else had time to clean out their pockets, so he had to go down to the. He didn't couldn't go back to work. They wouldn't let him go back because they arrested him with the guy who was writing the numbers, and they took him down to Newark to the courthouse, the prosecutor's office. And he said when they were going in, the numbers writer, his lawyer just happened to be coming out the door. So he put up bail for both of them. Isaac came home late that night, but he did come home.
Yeah.
And when he told me he had to pay a $500 fine, again, I thought, don't you ever say anything to me about money again in this lifetime.
$500.
Well, he didn't have to put it up all at one time, but he had to pay this off. This was his bail money. I said, please, please, please. But and
Wow.
if he didn't come home on time, I would call the Newark police to find out because he had to come from Belleville down through Newark, and I would call the police. What's going on? My husband's supposed to be home. What's going on with the trains and stuff out of Newark? One time they were having a they were on strike, and they still came home. They would picket all day long, but at 5 o'clock they would break and come home. But one time he didn't get home till like 7 o'clock, and I called the police in Newark. I said, "What happened? They supposed to be on strike? I know they're on strike. They're watching." He said, "Well, he said they were getting ready to leave when a truck came to unload, and when the truck told him where he was going." Since he couldn't break the picket line, he told them where he was going. So they all jumped in their cars and went to wherever he was, where the truck was going. So he said they'll be home on time. I said, okay, all right. But I definitely call up. No, if you're gonna run, you better run fast because I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find you. You're gonna have to get away from me. We were good. We were good. Well, one thing they say when people get married, the thing that most people argue about, and most of the arguments in the house are about money. And you figure you don't have any money, nothing to argue about.
Yeah.
Nothing to argue about. But we
Yeah,
got
I
along.
actually liked going over there a lot. I was at your house a lot. I
Hmm.
loved going to your house. I guess because I was the only child for like 5 years, and
Hmm.
going to your house, you had the kids, and I always had something to do. I was with one of your kids all the time, so I always had
Yeah.
something to do. I
Hmm.
liked it. I actually was sad a couple of times when I had to leave. Yeah, I
That's
was
how I
sad.
got in trouble with this chick that we just had put out of the house. Um, because we had 10 rooms in that house and the 6 children. Anytime one of their friends had a problem or anything or wanted to stay overnight, they could always stay. If they
Yes.
were having a problem, they would stay there. And when they got themselves together, they would leave. This chick wouldn't leave. She wouldn't leave.
It's easy to stay with you on Gene though, especially if it's economic economic
Hmm.
feasible. And not only that, it was just easier because when you're around so many people, they don't want you to do so many things in their household. So it's like they have all these rules. You didn't have
Hmm.
that. You didn't have that. You don't have all the rules that everybody else had. This is my house. Don't do this. Don't do that. And that's what made it easier to be around you, I guess.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then that's also a bad thing because for you it would be bad because now you got someone who is not respecting you and your
But
household because you're like, okay,
almost everybody did. Their friends did because we
yeah,
didn't make a whole lot of rules. They knew what the rules were. And this is something we did even we always did this. We always did this. When Joyce and Judy and Jimmy were in college, anybody that couldn't go home for the holidays, they would come to our house and stay. Maybe they went to other people's houses too. But I know we had people that, because Judy and I spent a year in Oklahoma. And when those people got scholarships to come to Princess Anne to play basketball, of course they weren't going to be able to go home for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So they would always come to our house. But we knew these people, and they would be. We'd had to go to bed because it wasn't in place for them to lay down until we got off the floor. They'd be sleeping on the living room floor and sleeping on the dining room floor with a blanket and a pillow, and they would get good food because we always had. My mother was a good cook. My father was a good cook. Jimmy was a good cook too. We always had good food there and always had enough for everybody. And the same thing on Clerk Street. We always had food for people. People just come in there, they have a good time. They
you
have a
was
good time.
feeding 6 kids plus yourself and
And my
your
husband.
husband. And when I was there, it was something that you made all the time to the point where I was smelling it for years later. Like it was something you made
Was it
for
good?
like years. I was like, why do I keep like I could taste it still to this day. I could taste it and smell it. I don't know if every time I went there on a specific time you made it, because you know how some people make food every single
Hmm.
week, same thing. I don't
Hmm.
know if that's what it was, but I remember, and I believe it was pasta with sauce.
Hmm.
I believe that's what it was. But I remember eating it all the time. I remember watching you guys because you had it where your girls, the older two, was in the kitchen helping you. Like I was observing everything. I was
Mhm,
always just around.
mhm,
And then
mhm,
your house was huge. So it was like what, 3 floors, 4 floors? I
3
think it was
floors,
like
yeah.
three. Yeah. And then the attic. And I remember it was like I was going in a maze. And and sometimes you guys would make it like fun where I would say, can I go check, see the attic? There was nothing really up there, but
Mhm,
I
mhm,
looked at it as like this big mansion. For me, I'm young. So I would look at your house like this huge mansion. And every time I go, I felt like you were showing me a different spot, even though it was probably the same
mhm,
thing I saw
mhm,
the week before. But I just always felt like it was a different room or a different place that I never saw. And it was fun for me. And then you guys had like older things, like things that we weren't using in my household. So
mhm,
you would
mhm,
show me how to do that. You would also show me like if you planted certain things like tomatoes or you showed that to me. And it was something, if I'm not mistaken, honeysuckle. Did you have that in your
mhm.
backyard?
Or what?
It was something you would give me and I would lick it. I
That
don't
might have
know
been
what it
honeysuckle.
was.
That might have been honeysuckle, because honey,
Yeah.
when you take the hip off the honeysuckle, there's a little bit of sugar down and a little sweet down
Yeah,
in there.
you would give that to me, and then it was one spot. Now these are just the things that I remember vividly, like being around you guys. We went to one spot. I don't know what it was. They gave us juice and a lollipop, and you would put the lollipop in the cup of juice and lick it. Yeah, I remember. I don't know why I remember that specifically because I was a little brat and I
Mhm,
didn't like the flavor. So I was
mhm,
like
mhm,
crying because
mhm.
I wanted a different flavor. And you yelled at I think one of the kids like just give it to her, just give it to her and shut her up. And I got what I wanted and I was happy. I was a little brat. I was a brat.
But the 2 meals, you didn't seem like a brat. I After 6 children, what could you do to me that I hadn't seen before?
That's true. That's
That I
true.
hadn't seen, but one
I
the 2 meals that when I made spaghetti, we when we had pasta, because there were 7 people that had to eat, I had to make sure I had enough for everybody. I had my secret recipe, specialty recipes, um, the pasta, and we would have breadsticks, and
yep, I remember that.
we would always have a big salad on the side, and ginger ale, lemonade with ginger ale in it. And that was enough to fill everybody up. Everybody got enough, and it might have been some left over for visitors if we had any. But that meal, I got a lot of people when they came to have spaghetti with me who had never had salad before. 2 or 3 people went home, and one girl told me her daughter would not have dinner anymore the rest of her life without a salad on the table, which is good for you.
Right.
Excuse me.
Exactly.
And another meal we used to have sometime at night, because we never had time for breakfast in the morning because it was too many of us. Nobody was going to sit down. And I had to be at work at 9 o'clock. Um, we'd have a big country breakfast for supper, and that would be home fries, um, bacon, eggs, biscuits, tomatoes and onions sliced together on the side, and coffee, tea, and whatever else you wanted to drink. That was a big breakfast, and that was everybody waited for that. Everybody waited for that. That was really that's something we still. I haven't done that for a long time, but I think I might do that. Jonathan and I eat home fries all the time. We eat 5 pounds of potatoes a week, either for
Wow.
supper or in the middle of the night. We get up and cook potatoes. But something I have found that's easy for me to get a meal without too much effort is I'll take a small potato and an egg and put them on and boil them, and then just peel the egg, and then either put mayonnaise on it, either make it into a mashed potato salad, or I'll put butter in it and put eat it like that, and just eat that and have a cup of coffee and a slice of bread or a slice of toast or something. But another thing, somebody told me to make some when we do things for church. When they tell you bring something in, They kept telling me, bring in peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, make some cheese sandwiches for the people that don't eat meat. So I finally broke down and I made some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and I sliced them corner to corner. So I had peanut butter and jelly points on the table. And I wish you could have seen, we had a family, a husband and wife doctors. And I wish you could have seen the doctor with his tie and his white shirt eating peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh.
I should have taken a picture of that because that was so funny. And somebody else said, "Can I have the leftovers and take them home?" I said, "Oh God, they're taking home peanut butter and jelly sandwiches." To me, that was just funny, but it went over well. There weren't any left over, really. And
Something as simple as that, I wouldn't think that nobody would want to eat it.
but it is something every peanut butter and jelly. That's the most popular sandwich in the world, and that's the same thing I told the people in church. That's the same thing Jesus used to eat with his followers because they were always eating fruit and grapes, right? So the grapes would be the jelly and the fruit. And they said, "You're right." They never thought of that. Maybe that's why
No,
it's so popular and people don't know it. It's an easy meal. It's an
it
easy meal.
is. Someone is asking, Cheryl is asking, when is your birthday? Want to see what sign you are.
I'm a Taurus.
Yeah,
I'm
your
a
birthday's in
Taurus.
April.
April 26th. I'm going to ask them if they talk. One thing I think, have they anybody ever found somebody born near their birthday under their sign that they bond with? I have two people that I worked with that I bonded with from the get go. That you just like I'm talking now, you looking now. I could look at you and tell exactly what you were going to say and answer the question without even you saying it. And
Oh,
this is
wow.
how I am. There's a guy who's 10 years younger than I am. They call him Juice. And he lived in the same building that I'm in right now. And when he was 45 years old, he had surgery and lost, when he woke up, both of his kidneys were gone. And he never thought he would see 50. But he would walk from where we are on Claremont and Garfield up to medical center at 4:30 in the morning to be the first patient for dialysis. For years, he did that. And then someone came to our church to Bible study. And I said, "What did you think about her?" He said she had nice legs. He had to talk to her. So eventually they got married and they were watching television. He was watching CSI, some kind of CSI program. And he said, "This patient on here is B negative. So am I." And she said, I'm going to be negative too. Maybe I can give you a kidney." And she gave him a kidney.
Oh, wow.
And he never thought he would see 50. But guess how old he is now?
Oh,
72.
oh,
He never,
wow.
and he's still going strong. And he's still my buddy. He's still my buddy.
Oh, yeah, that's your
We could have,
buddy.
we could have conversations and nobody would know what we were talking about, and they would be mad at us. Wait, that's not fair. Y'all got some secrets. Yeah, we got secrets. We got secrets. We're talking about you all. But I worked with a girl at night too, a long time ago. She and I were the same sign, and it was the same thing. You just know what they're thinking. It's
Mm.
like you're on the same wavelength all the time, all the time. But it's fun to have somebody like that that you can bond with.
Well, she said I knew it. May 15th is her birthday.
Oh, good. That's the same. That's the same thing. Same birthday as my friend Juice. That's my friend's
May
birthday,
15th is his birthday?
May 15th. Mm-hmm.
Get out of here.
And one of the priests at Christ the King was one of the same. He's not there anymore. Father John. Father John was a good person because I could call him up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Father John, I'm reading this book and there's a word in here I don't understand. Tell me what it means. And he would tell me. Okay, thank you, Father, and he'd go on about his business. And my girlfriend said, "Gene, how come he talks to you and he doesn't talk to anybody else?" Because y'all always talk about church. He doesn't want to talk. Just because he's a priest doesn't mean he wants to talk about church all the
All the
time.
time. Yeah.
But he was good. He was good. He was a brilliant person, and he was very fair and very honest, and he liked black people. He really liked black people. He liked Christ the King. He stayed there 20 years. He came, he said when he came on Tuesday night, there was a note on his phone to make sure went to meet the Hartzog family on Clerk and Carteret. and he said he didn't have a clue where Clerk and Carteret was. But the problem was solved because the next morning he woke up, there was a message on the phone that Mr. Hartzog had passed. So he didn't
Mm.
have to get to know us. I mean, he didn't have to come down to the house. But anyway, he preached his funeral just like he knew Isaac for years. But he could play guitar. But the only people who heard him play a guitar were the people who came to day camp for the kids. Anytime we had a program for kids, he would come play the guitar. Otherwise, no. But he knew all of the black music, the R&B,
Yeah.
rock and roll, or whatever we
Like
had.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, yeah, he was like that. He was like that. Very sincere. And he had been in New Orleans for a long time, so he knew the Zydeco. And I want Zydeco back in Jersey City. They've never
Oh,
had it out there.
yes.
I
Zydeco.
want
I just
everybody
found out what that was.
everybody go on. I want everybody to go on YouTube and tell them you want to see Zydeco dancing and Zydeco music. Because forget
Yes.
the jazz from down. When you go to New Orleans, you got to go down there and learn how to Zydeco dance.
Hmm.
That's
I
good.
I just found out about Zydeco about a year or two ago, and it was during in the beginning when pandemics. Yeah, when
Hmm.
the pandemic started, I was I was sick. I was sick. And I was just laying in the bed looking at my phone and I saw something about New Orleans and the
Zydeco.
music and stuff. Yeah, so I just found out last year about it. I just found out.
I
Yeah.
know. I couldn't do. They have Zydeco line dancing, and then they have the partner dancing. And when you watch it on YouTube, you'll see one couple. If they see one couple that really knows what they're doing and got it down pat, that's the person they focus on. They don't pan the room. They just stay with that person. But I think it's fantastic. And it's when you go to New Orleans, you can go down to Basin Street and see the jazz, but you got to go off the line and go someplace where they got some Zydeco and bring that back because I think that's cool. I just think I'm trying to get Quanda, a young girl I know that dances well. She did classes for a long time. And I told her I
Mhm.
want her to learn it and teach somebody so they can teach me, some guy so he can teach me how to do it. But they got it. I got to dance one on one, two together because somebody got to hold on to me because I might fall over now if they let me go. But I want to learn that. And I want it here by the time Mardi Gras comes. I want it full blown all over Jersey City.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Mardi
Okay.
Gras. They got until March, February, March, sometime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, we got to make that happen. So last time you was talking about the last time you was on my podcast, you was talking about the Ravens and how you're making them scarves and how you're gonna
That's
make
how.
me push
That's.
for it.
I probably couldn't live long enough to make enough scarves, 7-foot scarves for those people. That many of them are there? There too many of them.
There's a lot. There's a lot of them. But even if you was gonna make it for just the star for free, they gotta pay for it. But I'm like, they don't even know that they're getting it.
If the front office tells them this is something somebody started for you, or y'all got to get them, they get them. I got to convince the people in the front office. I can give them to the guys in the front office first, and then they'll say, "Oh, these are nice. Maybe we can get them for the whole team."
So someone left me a message and said if Aunt Jean does the Ravens, if she does the scarf for the Ravens, she said she'll do the hats, and she said that we could make a big project because she's trying to convince me to help do something else. And I'm like, I wouldn't touch the Ravens. I'm not a Raven fan. Why would I touch the Ravens?
For money. For money. I would do the only reason I would do it for I don't like the Colts because of the way they snuck out. We discussed that the last time. And I don't like the Patriots because they cheat. And only way I would do it for them, but I would charge them $50 more than anybody else. Green, long green always matters.
Money.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
why you never decided to sell your stuff for money, like to make it as a business, especially since you're retired?
I don't do anything. I don't finish stuff. I don't finish. Somebody that I went to high school in I came out of school in 1957, and someone who came out in 1953, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I came out in 57, so she came out maybe 3 years ahead of me. and I talked to her maybe 5 years ago, and I hadn't seen her since I came out of high school. She said, "Jean, you never finish anything. You never finish anything." And I said,
Wow.
"Wow." And I'm trying to figure out. Somebody else told me that recently. See, you don't stick to. I don't have to stick to it. But I went like that entrepreneur program I went to. I was telling somebody else I went to an entrepreneur program, and we were talking about marijuana, and it 20 years ago I was in this class when Andrew was 2 or 3. So he was so this let me see, that would have means he that was probably 35 years ago. And they put us in a group and we had to figure out different things that we could do to chocolate chip cookies because chocolate chip cookies, the sales were falling off. And if we didn't figure out ways to make more chip cookies, 3 of us were going to get fired.
Oh.
So one of the things I came up with was we had to do all these things. We were going to make mini microchips and macro chips and chocolate chip cookies for dogs and chocolate chips to hang in the front of your cars to scent your car and everything if you like chocolate chip. And one of the things I said was to lace the chocolate chip cookies with marijuana. And they said, you can't do that. That's illegal. But we were talking about that on the train today. And we said, everybody's trying to figure out what to do with how to lace cookies now.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell them, they didn't say it had to be legal. They just said, what can you do to make the cookies sell? And that we would have sold a whole, we would have sold a whole lot of cookies.
You would have sold a lot of cookies.
And I did see on one of the I listen to the radio at night, WNYC, PBS, WNYC, and BBC. If you listen to BBC at night, coming from England, you hear a whole lot of stuff that you never find out here in America. And they give you some good history programs for Black people. What happened? They talked about the Scottsboro Boys. They talked about Kent State. They talked about a lot of stuff that you don't hear people talk about here. They even interviewed some guys who had been in solitary confinement in Alabama for 30 years. One guy had been in, and he came out. He sounded like a college graduate when they
Oh
interviewed him.
wow.
He said
Wow.
he just read the Bible. He read the Bible, and he read a lot of books. He just said he kept reading the whole time he was there. And he must have had a powerful persona. I guess that's what they would call it, a persona, not to let them get you down because they get a whole lot of people down. They get a
That's
whole lot
what
of people.
one of the because we know election day is tomorrow. One of
Hmm.
the candidates, Educational Gilmore, he's for our ward where we live. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Jonathan pointed him out to me.
Oh yeah. So
Hmm.
he is the the current administration tried to put him out. I guess trying to make it seem like, oh, he was an ex drug dealer, he did all of this bad stuff. And the thing about it is he paid his debt. Like he went
Hmm.
to prison because he was an ex drug dealer, like a mastermind in it. And
Hmm.
he went to prison, he came out, he went to college and graduated. He went to Rutgers
Hmm.
University, he graduated, he works for the city, and he has kids, and now he just wants to give back to the community and help the youth and let them know that this is not a route that you should go. He was on the Ellen DeGeneres show,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he has so many different endorsements from like big time companies. And the thing about it is I respect him because he turned his life around.
Hmm.
That's what I respected him for. He turned his life around and he's giving back to the community. The thing that I guess I'm a very hard person to please sometimes.
Hmm.
I said I'm not voting for him. He's stupid. Like he's stupid. I was saying he's not very bright because he said something about me, and he said that I failed something. It was something that we were doing, some type of routine thing about trying to get people to vote.
Hmm.
And I took it on a parent, being that I'm a parent. I had to do something that identifies with me. So I had to
Hmm.
do it like I'm a parent trying to get this person to vote for the person that I want them to vote for. I used me being a parent and I used her as being a parent. Well,
Hmm.
he said, You failed because I said, let's all get together and talk to the person that's running. He said I failed because I shouldn't do that. I should just tell this person why they should vote. And if anything, I should have never even brought up the subject of getting her to meet the candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that. I get that, a lot of times we are so busy that we can't see everybody. That I understood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I made it so that it wasn't just this individual person, it was the parents all together. So that's the thing that I don't think he understood. And then I found out that his child is in the same exact school, not just the same school, but the same class as my son. So now I'm really upset. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
upset because now you undermining me and how I am as a parent and how I try to identify with this person to get them
Mm-hmm.
to vote. Yeah, so I think I took it a little bit overboard. I'm very stubborn. Do you see that in me? Do you think I'm stubborn?
We stick to what you want, unless they can give you a good reason why. If they really give you a good reason, and you can see in yourself why you should change, then you change. Otherwise, if you think you're right, you're supposed to stick to your guns. You're not supposed to change, because this is one of the things that Father John told us, that when you see people on those young girls that do the, like, what's her name, Simone Biles,
Yeah.
Biles, when they jump and leap and all those poles and all that, and they leaping and all of that, but when they come off all of that stuff and they hit the ground, they're not supposed to move,
Right.
right? You stick. He said you have to stick,
Right.
and that's what we have to do. You have to come up with what. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but this is what I believe, and I'm gonna stick. I'm not gonna be wishy. You don't want to be wishy washy. You got to stick.
Exactly. And that's my issue. And that's another reason why I believe sometimes my business doesn't go as far as it should go. My business is right now high. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. I'm really in a place where I did not think I would be at. The issue is if someone say, Shauna, do you like this? And I'm gonna say no. If I don't like it, I don't like it. But because I said no, we don't want her to be a part of our thing because she's not a team player. I don't think that's me being not being a team player. I think I was telling the truth. And why do I have to lie? Just to be
Hmm.
a part of the team. And if that's how they feel, then I don't need to be a part of the team.
Then you don't want to be a part of it. If they don't
Right.
if they don't have the same ideals you have, or if they don't have the same goal you have, you don't need to be with them. You don't need to be with them. You
Well,
need you
that's
need.
where I'm at.
Mhm.
Because I'm not signing the dotted line with the devil. I'm
But
not saying they
this.
all are the devil. I'm just saying because I'm not doing everything they want me to do or say everything they want me to say, I'm looked at as this difficult person.
You have to be in good conscience. You have to be of a good conscious person to do that too. But another thing I wanted to talk about was the light rail down here on Garfield Avenue, the elevator. I'm I want them to give me a ticket so I can go to court. I've seen it's been out for 3 months, and I don't think anybody should pay. I'm gonna tell them. I don't know if nobody should pay any money on that light rail going out of that station until they fix that elevator. I saw a woman coming up one day with two crutches, dragging the crutches, and her daughter's standing in front of her, cheering her on, can't do a thing for her. And I
Aw.
saw another day, I saw a woman carrying the carriage and dragging the little child up, which means she can't hold on to a handrail to balance herself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. They would not allow this in the Heights. They will not allow it down on West Side Avenue. And ain't no reason why we should have to put up with it. I will not pay. I want them to give me a ticket so I can go to court and let the judge tell them what to do. They won't listen to us because even if I tell them that they need to come up here with the steam cleaner and steam on Jackson Avenue, they knew what they were doing when they put those services in this part of the neighborhood. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were up against. And if you want my money, I want your service.
So,
I want your.
Jean, you so you're saying you just boycott
I'm
paying
not.
for
No,
it, but
no,
you're
I'm
gonna
not.
ride it though.
I'm not boycotting the light rail. I'm using the light rail. I'm just not gonna pay. I'm not gonna pay till they give me the service I want. I'm not getting. If I have to, I'm 82. I mean, I used to run up the steps, the 31 steps, and the guy told me, "You're doing good." I said, "Because I'm on the inside." I was I was keeping up with it because I was close to the wall, the inside track. So
Yeah.
I knew what I'm doing. But I can't run up the steps now, but I'll have to walk up, and I shouldn't have to walk. It should be if they put the elevator there, it's supposed to be in service.
Right.
Whether I want to walk or whether I want to run up the steps or whatever. The young people don't want to be bothered with the escalators. I mean, with the
Right.
elevators.
The
And
elevator.
then you have the people that want to sleep in there at night and want to get high. Hey, you all knew you knew what you were doing when you put that there. Now you have the responsibility to keep it clean for the people that need it. It's
That's
here
true.
near a clinic. It's here near a clinic.
Yeah.
And that's part of the service that they expect for their patients too.
Right.
We
Especially
expect
if
the
you
service.
go into the the clinic. A lot of
Anything.
times it's different people that's going to that clinic.
Yeah,
They
you have
need
people coming on. A lot of people come down here because they closed down the one up on Fairmont Avenue and Bergen, so they're all coming down here. And there's a lot of children down here.
yeah.
There's a lot of children. All those children can't walk up all those steps. That's a lot of walking. That's a lot of walking. Well, otherwise, the service is good. They're on time, but I ain't paying a penny till I get what up my service.
So you want to advise the people of Jersey City to do not pay for a
If you're getting
ticket.
on Garfield,
Just go to court.
if you're coming in, whether you use the escalator or not, some people go up are coming off off the trains and going to what is it? It's not Bramhall. What is that block? Right up the street from us. I can't think of the name. Whatever it is. No, the way the little club is. You know where the little club is on the corner down.
Union.
Yeah, on Union and
Yeah. Union and I know
Jonathan. What is that street right up the hill from us?
What street?
Right up the street, the one that runs parallel to us. Corner.
Randolph?
Yeah, Randolph. And a lot of them come off the light rail and go to Randolph Avenue, but they don't. I wouldn't pay. They don't need to pay either.
Hello?
Nobody needs to pay till everybody gets to service. We're all in this bag together. No man is an island. No man that stands alone.
I guess.
I mean,
Uh,
they're in this neighborhood too. They have relatives that come here, and they deserve it. Their relatives and friends need to come to and find a clean place. You don't want somebody coming here from halfway around the world to visit their family in Jersey City and having to get off and find all this filth by the elevators. They deserve that. We're paying enough taxes. Crying out loud. Come on. I'm not paying taxes directly, but my rent pays taxes.
right.
And we
But
do
then
have
that's why I'm really into this whole election because the person that we have, that little spot that you was talking about on that corner, that's the current Ward F councilman's spot. That would benefit him if he decided, his business is there. That would benefit him if he would clean up or, fix the elevator or
hmm
fix certain
hmm
things. That would
hmm
benefit him and his business. But I don't know who he is until it's an election.
I know who he is because he was there before now. He's been there
Well, I
long.
am being sarcastic. I know who he is, but I don't know who he is until there's an election. Other than
hmm
that, he does not do absolutely
That's not his.
nothing.
He was there before. He was there before he was a councilman. I knew him. I knew him back in the day. I knew him from back in the day. I lived on Clerk and Carteret for about 25, 30 years. So I knew him back in the day.
You like him?
I knew him from back in the day.
So you don't
I
like
didn't like I didn't like anybody that was into the drug culture. I didn't like anybody.
him? He was
I
into
didn't like
drugs.
anybody. I was not down with my children. You know my children and the neighbors. I lived on Clerk and Carteret. That was the worst drug traffic corner in
Yeah,
Jersey
but
City.
he was that particular person. Oh, Jean, you done spilled the beans.
I don't want to get in. I don't want to get it. He had that club. He had that club even then. That's where they used to hang out. That's where Reggie got killed.
I did
Did you
not
know
know.
Reggie? Did you know
I don't
Reggie?
know. I don't know.
Reggie. They they had that. They were so they had a thing one time. They had it was somebody in Pip Nitty. I can't remember their nicknames. I'll come up with their nicknames because they even had postcard. They had a postcard. They had a pool party out in Elizabeth one time, and I knew some young girls that wanted to go out there, and they got out there. They got out there, and at a certain time, Elizabeth told them they had to get out of y'all. I don't know where y'all gonna go at this time of night, but y'all gonna get out of Elizabeth.
Wow, they need to do that here, but they will never do that here. But they need to
Well,
get out.
the young cops that came here, well, that's the same thing they were doing in Bayonne. You'd never get in there.
Nothing you ain't seen. You done seen everything.
But
Why don't you hook your phone up?
they do these things. And when they came here tonight for this young girl to pick up some of her things, she wanted some of her personal care items. And when she came, I told them my idea is that the policemen who live outside of Jersey City now should be grandfathered in. But the next group of cops that they hire should be at least, they don't have to be from Jersey City, but they have to be from Hudson County.
That makes sense.
They have to be from Hudson County. No more. If you want our money, then you have to stay here and live.
But Arjane, a lot of people in Jersey City in our neighborhoods don't want to have anything to do with the cops. So let alone be an actual police. So that's probably why they have to go out.
That's why we want cops that they know, whether they want anything to do with them or not. If the guy next door, we'll say Jackie, if Jackie was a cop in Jersey City, everybody knows her.
Yeah,
they knows her.
Yeah.
One of my friends was a fireman. He was a
she coming to get everything.
He was a fire marshal. He was a fire marshal because he had been with the police for a long time, and to the point where he knew he was from Jersey City, so he knew all the hood thugs. He knew all the people they were looking for, and the police would give him a picture, and ask him to go find this person, and he would walk up to the person. Is this you? Because he knew where to find them. He knew where to find them.
Wow. But that's a snitch, isn't it? That's a snitch.
They were looking for him.
What?
Snitches get stitches.
He wasn't a snitch. He was part of the system. He wasn't the man. He wasn't the man, but he knew where to find him. Is this you? And I thought that was hilarious because he walked up to one of the guys on the bridge down here one night. And, is this you?
Oh, wow.
And he could not run him. He could not run him.
Well, Jonathan, I can hear what he's saying.
I don't know. He's talking to somebody out there. I don't know if he's on the phone.
I hear what he's saying, though.
Jonathan, you're talking too loud. Close my door.
I hear exactly what he's saying.
I can't hear him. I can't even hear him. Jonathan, close the kitchen door. Shauna says she can hear you.
All right.
He says, all right.
I heard specifically what he just said.
I'm just sitting here looking around thinking, yeah, I'm going to be the family. Mr. Brunson wants to, from the museum. That's where I want you to come. That's where I want you to come. I'm going to see if not this Saturday, because we're going to be one-on-one. He wants to interview me on Saturday.
Everybody want you. You're so popular.
And I don't know if I'll tell them one other thing. I'll tell them. Then that everybody said I did not know until we went. Diane and I went. My girlfriend Diane Daniels and I went to a program, and that Mayor Cunningham was doing, and he would do historical programs, talk about things. And he asked me, he says, he looked over in the direction that Diane and I was sitting in. He says, sister, come up here on the stage and tell him why you wouldn't get out of the chair, why you wouldn't get up. And I looked at Diane. I said, Diane, why is he looking over here? And what is he talking about? She said, he's saying you look like Rosa Parks. I said, oh, so I'm supposed to go up there and tell him why I couldn't get off the chair. And to me, this was hilarious. I've had such a good time with this since he told me that. I went up there. I just told him I'm not getting up. My feet hurt. I'm tired. I'm not getting up today. That's it. And Wasn't anything else I could say because that was all that that's all I think that's all that she said, and they arrested her. But after that, people started calling me Miss Parks because there was a lot of people there who had seen it. And I don't think it was televised at that time or what, because because it wasn't anything like this. But we went to the Apollo Theater, and when we were coming out, the lady behind us said they should have had you up on the stage and recognized you. And my girlfriend said, "That's not Rosa Parks. That's Rosa Parks look-alike." Well, they should. And the
Oh,
woman, but when we got outside, there were people out there waiting for my autograph.
are you serious?
Dead serious. Dead
That
serious.
you actually do favor her. Now that I'm thinking
And I
about it,
didn't
I
know
never thought
until
about
then.
that.
There was a bus driver there. I don't know if I can't remember because I talk so much. I don't remember what I say all the time. One of the bus drivers would take me to Newark. It's like if I was working over in the park one time at the concession stand at the golf course, and the bus driver would tell me, "Get up on this bus. Come on, Miss Parks, get up on this bus. Get up here. Get out of that seat. That's Miss Parks' seat." She would make them get out of the front seat, and I could sit in the front seat. And she said, "You'll never need. Don't put that money in there. Don't. You'll never need to put no money in there as long as I'm driving
Oh,
buses."
that's good.
But
You go free
coming
everywhere you
through,
go.
yeah, that was worked out for me. Worked out for me. Whatever works. But in Penn Station one time, I was walking through Penn Station, and I was coming, coming towards walking over to the light, to the path station, and just walking, cruising, and somebody says, "Rosa Parks," and everybody stopped. Everybody in Penn Station stopped and started looking around to see where Rosa.
Oh my goodness.
And I kept right. I was the only person moving. I was moving, and he was running behind me. It was so funny because I kept walking, and when he finally caught up with me, I said, "I'm not Rosa Parks. I'm a Rosa Parks lookalike." But everybody else started moving again after that. But I have fun with it after that. You look like somebody. And one day I got on the bus coming the 81 coming up the hill, and there were two white guys, young white guys, sitting right behind the bus driver on that
Mhm.
front seat facing the aisle. And there was a seat for a third person, but they was taking up all three seats. And I said, "Excuse me, can I sit here with you all?" And they moved over. I said, "Now you can go home and tell everybody you gave Rosa Parks a seat on the bus." And they both looked at me.
Oh!
They said, they said, "Yeah, you do." And I was going to Maryland one time on the Bolt bus, which takes you from Newark to Baltimore for $25 or $19 or something at the time. And the guy said, "I don't know if we have any more seats." I said, "I know good and well you're not gonna make me sit here and tell people you wouldn't let Rosa Parks on the bus." And they had enough seats on there for me.
You
But I do have
milking
fun with it. I have
it.
fun with it now. I have
Yeah,
fun.
you did.
Hmm.
My other crochet mentor says, Arjane, what have you crocheted lately?
Say again.
What have you crocheted lately?
Huh?
Uh, I'm trying to figure. Oh, I did a blanket for a young girl. I did a blanket for a young one of the girls at the library. Her daughter, 19-year-old daughter, uh, got up one morning and told him she was having stomach problems. She didn't feel good. She didn't know what was wrong. And the mother said, "Well, okay." It was a Sunday. And the mother said, "Okay." She said, "I have to go." She worked in the library, but she said, "I have to go to work, and I'll let your father take you down to the hospital and we'll put you in the emergency room, and then he'll drop me off and come back and stay with you." And he had some other errands that he had to run because it was Sunday. You want to get this done before school days, before you go back to school. I hope she doesn't mind me telling this on here, but it's amazing. And the little girl, they kept calling and kept calling. I'm still sitting here. I've been here an hour. I've been here an hour and a half. I've been here 3 hours. It's 3.5 hours. They finally took her back into the emergency room and put her on a stretcher. And when she got back in there, they tried to call and they couldn't get, because I guess they block cell phones when you're actually going to the into the examining room. And she told them she had to go to the bathroom. And when she got up and went to the bathroom, her water broke.
Mm, mm, mm.
She didn't know she was pregnant. She didn't know what was going on. So she was sitting in the bed. Okay, when she was sitting in the emergency room the whole time, they don't. I guess they don't do triage where she was. I won't tell you where she was, but When she started yelling, she told him something's wrong. I don't know what's going on. Water just keeps coming out of me. The aide came in and found out, realized she was pregnant and getting ready to have a baby. So they had to deliver the baby in the emergency room. They didn't have time to get her upstairs. And she said the little girl, the young girl, the mother told the grandmother of the newborn told me they didn't have any clue she was pregnant. She didn't know she was pregnant. Never gained a pound. Never gained a pound. Was still wearing those tight those pants that they wear now.
Yeah.
Never gained a pound. Never gained a pound.
That's scary. I mean, you have to really know your body. If you're not paying attention to your body, I think that could have been denial too. Like, because you know if you're going through something with your body, you just are not like focused on it.
Some
I
people I've heard of it happening. I don't know. It didn't happen to me. Never happened to me. But the first
no,
time you're
but
pregnant,
you had a pregnancy after you had
10
your
years.
tubes tied, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. 10 years after.
Yeah, that's
At the,
scary.
at the age of 44. That wasn't scary. I don't know what that was.
That was
I don't
scary.
know what that was.
That's scary for me to because I have my tubes tied, and then to think that I'm gonna have a baby. Oh no, I would. That's scary.
Well, one of my friends told me, she was more my age than anybody else's. She told me that she was a diabetic, and she told me her medical doctor told her, not the OBGYN. She said her medical doctor told her, do not count on that. Do not count on that thing working the rest of your life. Make sure you watch yourself and try something else or do whatever you have to do if you really don't want any other children.
Wow.
But you do the first time you're pregnant, you might need to go pay for a $35 test. The second time, I don't think anybody should need to go. The way your bodies are, you really shouldn't need to go. I
Right.
think from what I know from the patients, but I know I didn't talk to my children like I talked to my patients in the lab. Because one girl came in, she says, I'm pregnant. This is going to go away. I said, the pregnancy will go away in 9 months, but you better go find out what else you might have. Because there's a whole lot of things that don't go away
Yeah.
or stick around for a long time.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for monogamy.
Yeah. Because I remember you said to me that still has me thinking about the Alzheimer's. You
That's
still
funny.
have me thinking about that.
But I've never heard that from anybody else, and everybody else is probably, what did she say about Alzheimer's? That they think there might be some connection between that Alzheimer's might be sexually transmitted. And my comment was, damn, nothing's free, nothing's fun anymore. Because if I have to think about that, that's, oh God. But then that means if you have a monogamous relationship, you might get it. So if you
Yeah.
change partners every once in a while, you might not get it, because so far there's no Alzheimer's, but everybody thinks they're getting Alzheimer's now. But everybody, just like you said, you're forgetting the stuff. Everybody's forgetting the stuff. People can't find their way home.
It
I've
may
got
not be Alzheimer's, but I'm definitely every now and then forgetting certain things. But then
yeah.
someone told me that it could also be my autoimmune disorder, and I had strong chemo, so that's factors as well. But the STD thing, when you mentioned it, I looked it up, and I had told some friends of mine, and they said, "Oh yeah, we did hear about it." And I really thought you was joking on Gene. I really thought
And I never heard it again. I never heard it from anybody else. And now you're telling me this. I said, oh, I'll stay just like I am. I'm glad if I had to go through what you all go through now, I told people I don't even want to go to work now. I've been downtown on Grove Street at 5 o'clock on Fridays, at 3 o'clock I would shoot myself in the foot before I'd go to work now. I just couldn't
oh
do it. I don't think I could do it. People down
yeah.
there, it's just crazy. People trying to get buses that never go. Buses are going to Atlantic City. Buses are going to Red Bank. Buses are going to Pennsylvania. But you can't get a bus to come up on the hill.
We were just talking about that too. Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of things going on right now on Gene that it worked in the past. There is all this progressive stuff that they're trying to find ways to make more money. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not realize they're thinking that they're making our lives easier, but not realizing that they're making it a little bit more complicated. And I don't know how I would be able to function where I used to work at to now. That would be hard for me if
Mm-hmm.
I still had to do that because there is no bus that goes there anymore
Mm-hmm.
at all. There's no way I can drive there because there's no parking because the mayor wants this to be sixth borough. So he
Mm-hmm.
made all these bike lanes and changed the parking. So I wouldn't be able to um drive. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be able to take the bus, but I could do the ride share that they have here in Jersey
Or
City.
you could do an Uber.
That
You could
exactly.
do an Uber.
But that's the thing. That's what's making me so upset about the whole situation. It's easy to get to New York. He made it simple for you to be here and be able to go to New York. But to be in Jersey City and to get around in Jersey City is hard.
You can't
It's
do it.
hard. It's real hard. That's why anybody from
I
Jersey
can tell
City
you
and
I can tell
Baltimore.
you how to get around. I can tell you how to get around in Jersey City because that's what I just told Jonathan. I don't know if I told you that at the beginning. I told Jonathan I can get to St. Mary's Hospital for free. I can get there for free.
You
I'll
get
take the light rail
everywhere
and
for free.
take
You
the light
told
rail
me
into
how
Hoboken
to
and then
get
walk
to
over.
you told me how to take the scepter. Something you told me how to do.
Oh, that's a long thing now. But see, because and see when my children tell me and people tell me, Jean, you shouldn't be riding the train by yourself. But I've been doing the East Coast corridor since I was 12 years old by myself. By myself.
Yeah, but
And maybe I shouldn't be doing, but that's what just like you're saying, I know I'm comfortable on that. I'm comfortable. Because I know what the people I know what to expect of the people. I know which way to I'm not always sure. But in Philadelphia, they have people that have one churches that ask me. And they when they see the white hair, they take you in the elevator and push the button until you get off on second floor. And they might even have somebody standing there waiting for you when you get off to tell you where to go. One conductor got off the train and took me all the way over up the escalator, over and up another set of escalators, and put me. He said, "You sit here until that such and such a train number comes along. Don't move until then." And he didn't have to
that's
do
good.
that.
Yeah, that's
He
nice
didn't have
that
to
there
do that.
are people out there that still help you. I'm just worried about the crazies out there that have no sense of anything, and some of them is not their fault. They just have some type of chemical imbalance where they're just doing the stupidest things. Like, did you hear about what happened on the Philly train? The SEPTA train. There was a young lady who actually got raped on the train, and the people
Mm-hmm.
around her was just recording. No one helped her. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
the things that worry me, like stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Mm-hmm.
asked around. I asked a bunch of people, "What would you do? Would you help her out, or would you mind your business?" And I know me and the craziness in my head. I'm gonna find a way to get him. I'm gonna find a way to beat him as
Mm-hmm.
as much as I can because in my mind, I would take it personally. You're gonna do that in front of me. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do that in front of me and think that now
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna stop it. I would take it personal. But the fact that nowadays everybody just want to mind their business because they just want to go from A to B home. That's it. They just want to go home.
But everybody doesn't. There are people who got their cameras up. They'll take pictures.
Yeah,
Floyd. I'm surprised they didn't try to get that phone from that girl. I'm
I'm
surprised they
pretty
didn't
sure
try to get her
they did.
phone. I'm surprised they didn't try to take that camera. But there are always people to do that. And I said, you don't have to get involved, but you can always call 911. You can call
Yeah, I didn't
911.
understand. Like, why didn't they even like press the emergency button? Like, even if you didn't want to get involved. But I'm looking at a picture of this guy, and this guy's skinny. There's no way he was gonna get away from me. There's no way he was gonna get away from me.
There's now this isn't quite the same, but we were coming out of Newark one day on the PATH train, And there was a family that got on. They looked like they had been traveling from halfway around the world because they had those big suitcases, the big suitcases with they didn't have ropes tied around them, but they had the belts that came with them tied around. It was two men, a female and a woman, and a little boy. Now you know how when the trains come out of the PATH train comes out of Penn Station to go to Harrison, you don't sit down. You don't get comfortable because all they do is pick up the brake and roll down the hill. Well, when they got down to the bottom of the hill and the doors opened in Harrison, the little boy got up and got off the train. The people weren't even up out the seats when the door closed. Trains moving down the tracks. I'm sitting on this side, and I was reading on this side, and the girl sitting across me was reading. But I said, pull the brake. She pulled the brake and went right back to her book, and I went back to my book. The train screeched to a halt. The conductor came back and wanted to know who pulled that brake. And everybody on the car said they did it and pointed to the people who were trying to get off, even though they were nowhere near the gate, the bar, the thing. But we got involved in that. Everybody on the car got involved because they saw the little boy standing there with somebody who missed the train, holding his hand, and this little old man is standing there like, what am I supposed to do with this child now? Because we would have had to go all the way into Jersey City and come back. So we just stopped the train, and the family got up and got off. He said, this isn't a limousine. You got to get up and get off this train. And we kept right on reading.
I mean, but at least you helped. At least somebody did something. They didn't do nothing for that lady.
I'll call. I don't care where I am. I'll call 911. I won't call 911 all the time, but I'll call the police and tell them there's something going on. Get off, Spot. My cat's coming in the way now. You get away. Go on someplace. He needs to go to the doctor and get away from me. But people need to get involved. You don't have to get involved. I mean, you don't have to actually go out there and get involved, but you can call up and let somebody know.
Right. Do
somebody needs some help. Somebody needs some help. I don't have a problem with it. People tell me, Jean, you shouldn't even call them because they have your phone. Now, I don't care. Because if something happens to me, well, I have the guys that my kids know out here still watching me because people tell me you shouldn't. Now, I went someplace to a workshop and I missed my connection in Teaneck, which means I got back into Newark late. And when I got into Newark late, I missed my connection, my PATH train. I had to sit there, had like 15 minutes on the PATH train to get to Jersey City at 12:30 at night. Usually I go down to Grove Street because I have, I'll take a cab because they always have cabs down there and I could get off right here. And there's always people coming out of New York on Grove Street, always people moving around. But I didn't have money for a cab. So I had to go to Journal Square and come up. And when I was coming down the street from Jackson Avenue, there was a group of young men standing right by Ocean and Claremont. And I said, I got to walk through this now and listen to their comments. But when I got up, and I don't walk out in the street, I made a mind that I'm not going to walk out in the street. I walk, excuse me. Miss Jean, how's Jackie doing? So everybody know, and then they're going to walk me down the street to make sure nothing happens to me. And people, oh, you shouldn't be out at 12 o'clock at night. I know I shouldn't be out at 12 o'clock at night. And I'm getting home just as fast as I can. This is not what I plan. I did not plan to be out here after dark. I don't like to be on the streets, even when kids are on lunch hour. When the lunch hour to school. And I definitely try to get home before 3 o'clock. If I can't get home on and off the street by 3 o'clock when they come out of school, I stay where I am until 5 o'clock. And that's usually I'm in the library someplace until 5 o'clock. I just sit there and hang out and look at books and make copies. That kind of stuff.
Well, we have like 5-8 minutes left. Anybody else have any other questions for Aunt Jean before we leave? But Aunt Jean, I still owe you lunch.
I thought it was a coffee break. It was
coffee, but then she gave a little bit more for lunch. So you get.
I was going to say, has it earned interest or something? Has it been that long?
I guess it's interest now since I didn't take you. So it's interest.
Have you finished your flag? Almost.
I am, and I don't want to ever do that ever again.
Not that flag. You have to, before you commit yourself to a flag, you need to look at the flag. Look at the picture of the flag.
I knew exactly what it was, and I knew what detail because I did it for I did the graph for someone
Hmm.
a couple of years ago. So I knew exactly what it was about. So when she asked me, I kind of sort of found a way to like do something else. Like it was for a baby. So I
Hmm.
said, well, why
So
don't
you
you
figured it
do
would be small?
colors? No, not that it would be small. I tried to do it with just the colors and put like Haiti symbols or something in there.
Hmm.
But that's not what she wanted. She wanted the flag. And I tried so hard to get her to get something else with
Hmm.
Haiti symbols. She said, no, I want the flag. And I'm like, but this for a baby. It's going to have to be queen size or more. And she said, I don't care. I
Hmm.
want it. I want that flag. No matter what, she wanted the flag. And I actually put it off
Hmm.
for like 2 years because I said, I just don't, actually not 2 years, it was 1 year and a half. I just kept saying, I refuse to do another queen size blanket with all that detail. It's a lot of detail. And then you
One
did
other
the
thing. What?
chains. There's 200.
It was 200. Good.
It was
Okay. One
200.
other thing. Nobody should. I do want to boycott this. I do want. I want the young ladies to boycott Johnson and Johnson because they kept selling that powder, even though they knew it was giving out. It was causing cancer. And the thing is, they're still selling that stuff in the third world countries. They're still selling it. The only
Don't they
place they're
have
not
a
selling,
vaccine?
huh?
Didn't they make a vaccine that just
They're
happens?
selling it. They're not selling it in the United States, and they're not selling it in Canada. They're selling it every place else, especially the third world country. And they were selling oxycontin too when they knew when it was causing a problem, and they bypassed the FDA. The Food and Drug Administration did not give them permission to use that on cancer patients. I don't. This is getting controversial, but I'll stand up in front of Johnson and Johnson. They can take me to court on that one. And the Food and Drug Administration, I feel, is just as responsible as the Johnson and Johnson because they didn't make them stop it. They should have stopped it, and they still haven't stopped it.
I was about to say they still didn't at
They're still
all.
selling it. They're still selling it. That's
Yeah.
the same thing. The people who are on it should be allowed to stay on it, but they should cut it off now. Nobody else should be allowed to be on it. They should not write another new prescription for OxyContin or that powder, that baby powder.
Yeah. I don't buy baby powder. I haven't bought that in I don't know how long. So
And none of that stuff, nothing that says Johnson and Johnson should be cut because they're selling the skin lighteners, and that's destroying people's skin. A lot of people are selling skin lighteners to black people because they think it's gonna make them white. And it don't work. Ain't nothing gonna make you white.
Nettie, I'm making a hat. It's a hat. It's an order, and then I had a raffle for my club, and I have to do a couple of hats for that, and then I have to do a scarf and the knee highs. Aunt Jean, do you make knee highs? Don't you
Make
want to
what?
help? Knee
Or what?
highs. Knee highs.
Knee highs. I don't know how to make knee highs. I don't know how to make socks. You have an
It's
easy
easy.
pattern?
You follow pattern, so you can make it. It's just
Find me a
follow
pattern.
pattern.
Find me a pattern. I'll try one.
I will give you the yarn and the pattern, and I will bring it to you so you
Is
can
it an
make it.
easy pattern?
It's really simple. It's really, 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 really simple.
Okay.
I made like 3 pairs in one day. It's real simple. It's not, and I'm gonna give you the good yarn too. I'm gonna give you the good
Okay.
yarn because um I have a whole lot of hand dyed yarn that you could use, and you can sell them. You can have it, and you can sell it.
I also another thing I did was I learned how to, if you go through the thrift store, if you go through the if you go through the thrift store and you see a sweater and you like the yarn, I know how to take the sweater apart and reuse the yarn.
So I won't do that. I
I've done
feel
that. I have
some
some
type of
yarn. I
way
have
doing
some,
that.
huh?
I would feel some type of way doing that.
But
I
they
would.
tell you how to wash it and clean it, and it works. It works. I have some mohair that I took the
Oh, you
sweater
have
apart.
mohair? Oh. Hmm.
This is where you go, because on Wednesdays is second. Everything is like half price anyway. Some things are half price. And I said, I just wanted to try it and see how it worked out. Then I had this yarn I didn't know what to do with. And
Mm.
I will tell you next week when I can get a date when I want the people to come see the crochet at the museum. I'll
Okay,
tell you and
let
you'll
me
have
know,
the date for them next week.
and
Because
I
I
will
think, and I
go.
want to,
I'll go.
okay, okay. See if you can find any of your friends that might want to come to. That's it.
Okay.
That's 9 o'clock.
Yep, it's
Peace.
9. Bring on Jean
What
back
is
to
it?
present Brittany.
Peace and love, right? Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Love and peace. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do Mr. Spock's thing either.
I don't know. I'm just doing what you're doing,
He
and
does it.
you
This is all he does. He does this.
and you
Peace.
and you say Michi Michi.
Live long and prosper.
You still on the computer? Yes.
Yeah,
Still
we-
We're
doing the
about to
show?
leave
Yeah.
now, Jonathan.
peace.
And you say Michi Michi, right?
Hmm?
Don't you say
Hmm?
Michi Michi?
Mushy, mushy, mushy.
Mushy mushy. That's what you say.
That's
Mushy mushy.
when you pick up the phone. Though, when you pick up the phone, mushy, mushy.
Oh, because I never understood what you were saying.
And when they hang up, and when you say somebody, when you say, I want everybody to learn a little bit of language. Arigato. Arigato is thank you.
Arigato.
That's the magic word. I don't know how please is. I don't know what please is yet. I'll figure that out. The magic word. But Jennifer had a book that had like 125 phrases in Spanish that everybody needs. And one of them was help. Somebody stole my wallet.
We really need that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you go to some of these countries now,
Oh, I don't
they
even
stole
carry a
your whole,
wallet anymore.
they
But
stole
Muchi
a
Muchi.
lot of people
Muchi
don't.
Muchi. That's what you say. I never understood when I called and that's what you were saying. I'm like, they
That's when I'm called. Instead of saying hello, who is it? You say mushy mushy.
mushy mushy. Okay. Someone said Kaduse, Kadusa, please in Japanese.
I don't know, please. I'll ask Jennifer. I'll find out from Jennifer.
Jennifer is your daughter.
Hmm. And she went to Japan. She spent a school semester in Japan.
I thought she was there longer than the school semester.
She probably hung around for a while.
Yeah,
She
I thought she was there for a good while.
But she keeps going back to all of these places. Oh, she has all these friends from Samoa and
Yeah.
all those places. So if she can get there, and she even has Russia on her passport now. Russia and China, I think.
Russia?
No, China. I think it was China. Because she missed her connections, and they told her we can still get you back to Japan on a certain date, but you have to go through China. And she stayed 24 hours, so they had to put it on her passport. Which I said, Jennifer, you didn't even bring me a roll of toilet paper. She said nothing. She said all I wanted out of China was me. Because China's, yeah. You remember the guy that took the picture off the wall, and they kept him over there. They wouldn't let him come back.
Oh wait, that's Crystal. That's my cousin. She said, "I got you, Auntie. I was stationed in Japan." That's Crystal.
What did she say?
I got you, Auntie. I was stationed in Japan.
And you know what I found? I found the pictures from Sandy's wedding. All 75.
You got that?
I have
Somebody was looking.
I have the negative. I have the negatives.
Somebody was. I think our daughters was looking for
Me,
that.
I was looking for them. One of them should have the wedding albums. One of them should have both of the albums.
No, someone was looking for pictures. I don't know who it was, but I gotta find out now because now my mind is going crazy. Yes.
Okay, but I have them.
From Maui.
They're right here. Ouch! Shoot! What is this? I got a needle stuck in my finger. I got them right here.
I thought you was my cousin, Crystal. That's not
Who's Crystal?
Crystal from Maui.
Okay, that's one of the cousins. That's a cousin. They're all cousins. We all call each other cousins.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easier than trying to explain to them that this is my sister, my brother-in-law's wife's children or something like that. It's just easier. It's just easy to say we're cousins. nephews and nieces and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're all related some type of
And
way.
there are only three of us left.
Yeah.
It's
I was
Judy.
telling that to my little Elijah. He actually mentioned this recently. Actually, he was like, "How are we all related?" And people are having babies by their sisters and brothers.
Mhm.
And I was getting upset because I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, he has a point, but he don't have a point. And I'm like, but we're really not. He was
Mhm.
like, but if
Mhm.
it was one person, if it was two people back then, and they had kids, and they had a lot of kids, and then those people, he said everybody's having kids with their sisters and
That's
brothers.
what we're
And all
supposed to do. Tell him that's what the Bible told you. Go home and go out and procreate. That's what you were supposed to do. Those are the orders.
yeah, I'm
Those are
not
orders.
explaining that to him. he he's he thought it was the most gross
He'll
thing
figure it out. He'll
ever.
figure it out.
Yeah,
Everybody
he
figures it
will.
out sooner or later. Everybody figures it out.
Oh man. All right, Aunt Jean, thank
Time
you
is
so
up.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I
Okay.
appreciate you coming on. And everyone have a good night and thank you for watching.
Be safe and be blessed. And
Yes.
you know you're loved. You know you're loved.
Yes.
You know
All
you're loved.
right. Have a good
Okay.
night.